joining us today as a mentor and business consultant all the way from Japan. Now we move on to our next news. Pope Leo has condemned what he called the barbarity of war following a deadly Israeli strike on Gaza's only Catholic church. The attack on the Holy Family Church compound in Gaza City killed 3 people and injured several others, including the parish priest. The strike hit near the church's main cross, damaging the roof and shattering windows. Speaking after his Angelus prayer on Sunday, the Pope read out the names of the victims and expressed deep sorrow. He urged the international community to uphold humanitarian law, calling for an end to collective punishment, indiscriminate force, and the forced displacements of civilians. Now we're joined by Peter Baum. He's a foreign editor at Weekly Blitz. Thank you, Peter, for joining us today. Good to see you. Now, what impact does the Pope's public condemnation of Israel's military actions, like the strike on Gaza's Catholic Church, have, according to you?
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me again. I think the Pope's comments have been very, very measured. The unfortunate attack on the church in Gaza, for which the Israelis immediately contacted the Vatican and apologized for this act, could have been an absolutely shocking public relations disaster for Israel and her supporters. However, the exceptionally measured response of the new Pope and his following comments in generalizing about the barbarity of war, albeit with some indications that he is violently opposed to the displacement of any peoples, including the Palestinians, I think should be taken as a sign of almost a change of political tact within the rhetoric, within the Vatican's diplomacy. Clearly, in my opinion, at the moment, the current Pope, in his very measured response to the Israeli actions and to the conflict in Gaza in general, should be welcomed by the State of Israel and those who support the State of Israel. I think it would come as quite a surprise to the opponents of Israel that this Pope has not been more decisively objective in condemning Israel as previous popes would have been and have been. So I think in this particular case, the Pope's measured response should be a sign for all diplomats worldwide, and I think he has gained great credibility by the way he's conducted his answers to this particular act.
And Peter, now how does this targeting or damaging religious sites in conflict zones shape international perceptions of legitimacy, morality, and adherence to humanitarian law?
Look, again, this one-off act will be demonized and shown on social media, in mainstream media, as being typical of what Israel has been doing, but it's not. One only has to look at the number of churches that have been destroyed in Islamic countries, in Syria, in Iraq, in Iran, in Turkey, for example, and one would not see the kind of media coverage, even though hundreds of churches have been destroyed, one would not see the kind of media coverage that this particular act has received, because it's the Jewish state of Israel and it's against the Palestinians. So from an Israeli perspective, it could have been a public relations disaster. Fortunately, and again I have to go back to the measured response of the Vatican, the Pope and his advisors, fortunately, it should not turn out to be the kind of disaster public relations disaster it could have been, and in terms of what impact it will have going forward on how Israel conducts herself, I think they will be doubly careful on, on any future similar episodes, even though there may be terrorists hiding in religious sites, for example. So clearly Israel is aware of what her responsibilities are. I only wish other nations were equally aware of the responsibilities they have when damaging religious sites.
Thank you very much, Peter, for sharing that insight. Please stay with us as we stay on this region. A tense calm returned to the Syrian